It's Johnny Jones, and I'm here at home today with a Sears Roadtalker 40, a seemingly ubiquitous radio found all over the internet, but yet not much information on it. So unfortunately, I don't know the year that this was manufactured, but I can give you an idea. It was around 76 to 79, I'd say, around that point in time. Now, this radio was made in Japan. In fact, I even have the FCC data and the model information here for it because I was trying to look this thing up, but I can't really find a manual on it. All I can seem to find is that it was manufactured for Sears and Roebuck back in the 70s, and that there were several models of these made. There was a base station version, sideband versions, other 40-channel mobile versions, and this one. So let's go ahead and walk through the features. Now, I have this thing hooked up to a power supply, but I did not have the proprietary end for it. So I had to do some soldering, which doesn't look great on the backside, which I'll show you in a minute. But hey, it's everywhere. I'm not ruining an old radio. They're everywhere. You can find them everywhere. So, let's get started. Now, my power supply, I don't know if you can hear that in the video, is buzzing. And I think that has to do a lot with the fact that the laminations in the transformer are separating. And they're buzzing because the adhesive is breaking down, which you can solve with more glue. However, it may come into the radio some, and if it gets too noisy, I will switch to a switching power supply, which theoretically, due to square wave harmonic distortion, should be worse than this, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and see. Now I have this hooked up to my ceiling dipole, and I have my other radio hooked up to my dummy load that I made, and that way we can safely talk to each other here. So, very little coming through here. Maybe my RF gain's down. Let's see, RF gain's in the middle. There we go. This thing is really crusty and really old and busted in the back. Looks terrible because it's rusted quite a bit. Now, one of the interesting things about this radio, which I might just want to shut that up for a minute. The interesting things about the radio is that it has an SWR meter built in. So there's an SWR bridge in here. However, the settings remind me of a mid to low tier radio. So most of the time you don't find an SWR meter on a cheap radio. You find them on, better, more dare I say, luxury radios, but it's not that much of a luxury. But they have basic functionality with an SWR meter, modulation light, and a transmission light. Now, the weird part about the noise blinker is the noise blinker in the off position actually sounds better than in the on position. Now, you can hear that pulsing noise. That pulsing noise, I suspect, comes from the cell phone tower beside my house. You turn it in the on position, it does block that noise out, but the noise level goes up. Interesting. So, noise blinker is not so much of a noise blinker. I think it might stand for noise booster. Shit. You know what? Damn, I was completely wrong. Everything that I thought I knew about CB radio is just, it's all been a goddamn illusion. Anyways, so I hooked this up initially with a realistic mic. And it squealed like a 16-year-old girl at a Justin Bieber concert. But luckily, because I am whom I is, I had a massive pile of microphones, and in it I found a Sears mic that has seen better days and looks like the tobacco spit and bad breath of an angry trucker. But it does work. So, in fact, to prove that, let's go ahead and turn my realistic on. Galaxy brought to you by Tater. So we got this on. I'm going to keep it low as possible so I don't cause any feedback issues. And we will go ahead and talk. You'll see the modulation light. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, audio. I don't have this up enough. Audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Modulation is a little low. Most likely the capacitors have been completely and utterly overtaken by old age. But that's okay. That's okay. She's still purring along. So, very little modulation I can see here coming through this radio. It's weak, but hey, it's still alive. PLL synthesized. And it does have what they call delta tune on here for fine tuning. They call it fine tuning. It's delta tune you find on other radios. Doesn't seem to help very much unless the other person has a very old radio too, and you can tune them in a little better with that. Because crystal radios used to be a little bit finicky on the frequency. In fact, if they warm up and if they cool down, and depending on what was going on with them, their frequency could shift. So you had this fine tuning knob, delta tune. By the way, sorry about that. It looks gross, but I actually broke that finger. Legitimately. It's even kind of twisted now. Anyways, so let's see what else to go through. Let's go ahead and check the SWR, because that does work. The SWR meter does work. Let's go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, I can't use my camera stand on this one because I am at an awkward angle. Let's go ahead and calibrate. Let's see. Calibration knob is the outer ring here. It should... Oh, I'm an idiot. I got it in RF mode. Johnny, why? No wonder. Alright, let's calibrate it. Got it in calibration there. Be quiet. And switch in SWR mode. Boy, you're about to crap out, aren't you, old girl? Well, that's alright. You were $5. Anyways, so PA mode, which pops like crazy when you switch to it. I don't know if it works because I'm never going to use PA anyway. But, you know, it's there, and I don't know if anyone ever used it, and I've said that for years. I don't know if anyone has ever used that. I'm sure someone has used it. And go into the comments and say, yes, I have used PA for this specific reason. And it better not be because you're a DJ announcing strippers. Actually, it can be that. I don't care. Just give me an example, because I don't know when people are using these things. Anyways, so we have, of course, the squelch function, which every radio should have. The fine tuning, which is a little off. And a simple switch for off and on, and the volume knob is in the same pot there. And yeah, there you go. RF gain is in the middle here, and the outer ring is your SWR and calibration. Nothing great, nothing super interesting, but from what I've heard on all the forums, this is a well-built, heavy-duty radio that lasts. And I think by the amount of these that you see on eBay, they may be right about that. Because most of the time, especially with a crap Chinese radio like the Cobra 19s, those things break all the time. Every time you find them at the flea market, they're destroyed. So the fact that there are so many of these still out there right now makes you think, alright, obviously it was a well-built radio, and maybe we should give it its dues and its own video. So I have. So I need to go ahead and pause the video and show you the back, because it's got a very interesting secret on the back. Alright, so I've switched to a new pointing device, so you won't have to look at my horribly disfigured finger. Now, this comes with a connector which is proprietary, as far as I know, to Sears. And I did, I think, have one of these somewhere, but I have so many radio parts and so little time that I just went ahead and soldered some wires here. And I still need to clean off the flux here. That's not melted plastic, it's flux. And I went ahead and put 2 ends on here. I didn't have a black plastic housing, but the way I figured, anyone in the right mind should know that that is positive and that's negative. And I just used some speaker wire that's high current to attach to those. The interesting part is it has a fuse on the back, which I absolutely love that idea, because most of the time you'll find them in line right here on the positive or negative of a cord. But they went ahead and put that on the back of the radio, which I think is wonderful, because people who may not use the fuse, don't have to take the risk of blowing the radio up. They have it built in. And any dick who says, I don't need a fuse, and just throws it into the car anyway, well, he's still protected. This is a 2 amp fuse. It will tell you there, right here, 2 ampere. Now, I looked at it. It is perfectly usable and worked just fine, but it looks pretty old. I mean, it's probably been in there for at least 30 years or somewhere around there, I suppose. I don't know how long someone had this in a truck, though. It could have been replaced a couple times. There are some screw holes on the top where someone did have this mounted, so it may very well have been a trucker radio for the better part of a decade or so. You know, if these things last that long, the only reason you would get rid of it is if you wanted something that had, I don't know, a little more power, a little more functionality, or just, you know, looked better. So anyways, let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Does it receive? Let's go ahead and see if it receives. You know, I was just thinking, I said that fuse may have been in there for 3 decades. It's been 4 decades. It's actually slightly over 4 decades since this was built. Holy crap, where the hell is time going? Man, this thing is actually old as shit. No offense to anyone out there who's old as shit. But hey, at least your body every day produces new cells. So you could theoretically think of it like this. You know, every couple years you get an entirely new body. So you're still new. This thing ain't had a change in 40 years. My God. That's a hell of a long time to just be fucking... Man, I love this radio even more now, thinking of that. I'm proud of you, wood grain. I love you, wood grain. You absolutely took over in the 70s and 60s and then died out slightly in the 80s until, you know, they went into black plastics and shiny metallic objects. Anyways, I'm getting way too off on a tangent here. Let's go ahead and see if it receives.
Hello. Hi there. Wood grain. Yes, it receives.
All right. It does receive. It does work. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. I'll probably sell it. I'm not going to be needing it. I just got the Galaxy DX from my buddy Tater, and he wants me to do a video on that. I don't think I have a meter to actually measure the output of this. I might have to dig one up that I can find, but he's wanting to make a video on that, so we will make a video on that for him. So anyways, I guess that's about it. Let's go ahead. Shut up. Quit it with the moaning already. So that's the Sears Roadtalker 40. A CB radio, by all accounts, still useful on today's Class D CB radio band, which in 1958, the FCC stole from the hams. That's right, hams. Suck it. I'm just kidding. It's Johnny Jones. I'm here at home, and I'll see you later.